let's flip a coin. Head Carolina, tails California.
Okay, this is Andy Graham of My Vilcabamba, Hobo Traveler, and Bob is going to give me a lesson in fruits. And we're in the Frutas and Verduras Orgánicos place. Okay, Bob, you're going to teach me about fruit.
A little, a lot of what you see here is stuff you're going to find where you live at home. So we'll just kind of skip that, and I'll have to tell you what a watermelon and a pineapple is.
What kind of, that's a watermelon right down there.
No, this is called Samba.
Samba?
Yeah, and I think it's Samba or Simba, something like that. And the tamale sauce that you like is made from the seeds of this.
The seeds.
The seeds. They look like little peeled pumpkin seeds. I don't see any here.
This is a good store for having a lot of seeds and stuff. You can see them through here. Avena, oatmeal.
Yeah. This is just garbanzos.
What is these, lentils?
Yeah, these are different kinds of dried peas, which is what lentils are too. These are different lentils, lentejas. This is quinoa.
Quinoa.
Yeah. I'm not sure what this is.
Looks like rice.
I don't think it's rice. It's not rice.
This is a health food, right?
This is an oatmeal cookie that they break up. This has more sugar in it than most cookies do.
Yeah, he was telling me about this the other day because I love granola, but I was realizing I gave up sugar. I better not eat that.
It's really sweet.
Oh, this is vanilla. So this is straight out sugar.
This is the salt from Bolivia, from like near Uyuni. The Uyuni salt flats. And then there's some tomillo is thyme. These are just the same herbs and stuff that you'll see over there. Tomillo is thyme.
But they're growing it here and packing it up, though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, most of this is grown.
Which is what I think. I think there's almost a contact high. These guys are liking the fact that they get so close to the actual process.
I don't know. This is the panela, the natural sugar, and here it is, already ground up. But the panela, is really nothing but cooked down sugar cane juice.
Right.
And so it still has all the vitamins and minerals and stuff that's good for you. This is a pre-molasses stage even.
Sure.
So this is really a pretty natural product.
What's the difference between this and brown sugar?
Oh, a world of difference. The brown sugar that we eat in the first world countries is white crystal sugar that they introduced 5% molasses to make it be brown.
To make it color.
Yeah, it was white sugar before it was brown sugar.
But this
is real. This would be like real brown sugar.
Okay.
And when you buy it in a brick like this, you save a lot of money instead of buying it like this as a powder. But it's hard. Touch that, Andy.
Yeah, well, I went to Malacatos and did a video of the guys making it.
Stuff is hard.
Oh, yeah.
Hard like a brick.
Yeah, they have a processing place just up the street from here.
So what you do is you take an ordinary box grater and use the attachment that you would make grated cheese to put on a pizza or something, and grate it on a big piece of newspaper, and then fold up the newspaper and put it in a jar, whatever you're going to put it in, and it's delicious.
Sure.
And
I love it for coffee and stuff. This is great.
Yeah, not like...
It's not... I was watching some Germans the first time I seen this. They were putting it on popcorn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people... Very interesting, like, as an American, I'm at an age where everybody used to eat Cracker Jack.
Right.
It was a real favorite. And now you don't see it much anymore there. People prefer the salt and butter than the sugary popcorn, in U.S. at least, and most of Europe. But there's still some demands for the sugary
Well, I think we put salt on it, and the Germans put sugar on it. So.
Yes, and also in U.S. still there's a lot of people that eat, they call poppycock, and they call it Cracker Jack, and there's a few other brands.
Explain this Alino. I'm lost.
This is essentially, they take onion and garlic and put it in a blender, and then they put in a little cumin and salt, and then some of them will put in, they'll make different blends.
Is this only an Ecuadorian thing, or is it?
No, you see this in other places. And then what you do is you marinate this on...
It's got an N.
Yeah, aliño. You put this on chicken or on pork or on beef or what have you, and let it soak in for a couple hours before you cook it.
Like a marinade.
Exactly.
But it's not salsa verde. It's something else.
No. This is pureed onion and garlic is the bulk of it, and then they put some flavors into it.
So what's ají?
Ají is the South American word for chili. Ají is a hot chili.
So, because in Loja I had ají on my chicken. I was trying to buy that.
Yeah, well, the ají sauce, which would be like a variation of Tabasco or something, sometimes thicker, would be, they sometimes call it ají, or sometimes salsa ají, or sometimes they call it picante. Just picante.
Now everybody needs to realize that Bob was a chef in USA, many places. I think New Orleans and many other places.
New Orleans, New York City.
Had his own restaurant and everything. So that's one of the reasons why he's my. Let's explain this chocolate down here. You know much about this chocolate?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody likes chocolate.
This is the local chocolate. It's cooked down from cacao beans. When you see it's got a little dusty-like stuff, that's the cocoa butter separating out. Whoever made this chocolate got the chocolate a little too hot, and then it'll separate out.
Is there a difference here between these two?
It's probably just different families made it.
Sure.
From their own trees.
This is pretty bitter, though, right?
Right. There will be no sugar in this.
Yeah.
So quite bitter.
I mean, what you don't realize is,
how black and shiny this one is compared to this one. That's because this one was at the right temperature. This is a little overcooked.
So when it's got the powder on the other side.
Yeah, it's good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's definitely not export quality because it got like that.
But you're not going to eat this like a candy bar most of the time, are you? It's more for cooking.
No. This is like bitter chocolate. Very bitter. There's not a speck of sugar in it.
Here's what I love. It's a canela. I love this stuff. I chew on this all the time. This is actually thin. I broke a tooth on one of them in Guatemala, so I've learned my lesson to be careful.
Yeah, that's cinnamon stick. Right off the bark of the cinnamon trees or the acacia trees. When in the U.S. and all over Europe, they add something called lecithin when they're making the chocolate, and the lecithin is a stabilizer. It's made from soybeans, and it has the highest concentration of vitamin E in any natural food. So lecithin isn't really bad for you, and the lecithin prevents this. That's why you never see this in a chocolate bar. Sure. Because there's lecithin in all of them.
We got a local guy called Manny that makes chocolate, right?
Yeah, Manny is a Canadian.
But he's probably adding
he's a big chocolate guy, and he says, chocolate as drug, chocolate as medicine.
Hey, I went to a cacao ceremony in Guatemala.
There's a guy here before him called Pineapple Head, and he was mixing chocolate with sassafras. And then you get a drug called MDMA. And all of these people were having these chocolate sassafras parties.
Well, they started crying at the cacao ceremony in Guatemala. I was like, oh, hey, getting in touch with the cacao gods.
So this is cool. This says arroz de cebada.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cebada.
Arroz means rice. Cebada means barley. So basically, it's like this is pieces of barley, and they'll throw it into a soup. Yeah. And then instead of putting rice, they'll put barley as a grain.
Sure.
And this is whole barley. Sure. I think. This is cebada o trigo. Eso. Cebada o trigo. Cebada. So this is barley. This is the barley when it's whole, before you cook it, of course. And then the little pieces, they store that, and then they sell it like this, and they put it into soups or something where they don't necessarily want the barley to be whole.
Esta también es la más chica. Proviene de aquí mismo, de la cebada.
Okay.
Sí.
And this is called machico, and this is a flour, a barley flour.
Barley flour.
Yeah, they've ground it down all the way, milled it, I shouldn't say ground, they milled it down to a flour level. Well, like in India, you always see that lentil flour.
Sure.
You don't really see it elsewhere, but in India, you see that, and
I had some raw trigo wheat the other day, and then I bought some again, and it looked like they processed it, but they still were calling it raw trigo.
Yeah, I wasn't with you, so I don't know.
No, it's like that looks like wheat. Yeah, this is raw trigo.
Yeah.
Well, I had some, but they changed color. There's two types of this trigo. It's really baffling to me.
Well, you'll often find a trigo like this.
Yeah, it looks like this.
Yeah.
What they do?
I don't know. This is a different variety of trigo. Of wheat.
Well,
trigo is a Spanish word for wheat.
Yeah, I was a farm boy. We'd go get it when it's fresh and it's not dried so hard. It's kind of good.
Yeah, this
is pretty dry.
That stuff that I said isn't rice. Maybe this is some kind of. ¿Qué es eso, mija?
Ese es el arroz integral.
She said this is brown rice.
Brown rice.
Arroz integral. But
I bought some the other day, and it took like hour to cook.
Long.
I was like, the last thing I'm going to buy for my room anymore.
Unless you have a pressure cooker.
I flushed it down the toilet because I said
Well, it's a combination, of course, of the altitude.
Yeah,
And,
plus,
that it's, whole rice takes longer anyway, and when you're up here,
yeah, but I'm cooking with a little can of tuna, right? A tuna can with alcohol.
You're there a long time.
I said I got to throw this away before I use all my money just to cook it.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons that the locals, don't really like the whole rice because of that. This is cedrón, no? Yeah. This is a plant called cedrón, and Andy can get a sniff of it. It smells like lemon, and you make tea out of it. But this is to grow in your yard, and then you pick off the leaves and you throw it in the water, and it tastes like this citrusy. Yeah.
It's like lemongrass.
Lemony, citrusy.
Yeah.
It's called cedrón.
Cedrón.
And these, this is why we're here. I was telling Andy the story of these. These are called granadas, or granaditas.
Granadilla.
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 Okay. It's a little grenade. In the old days, when the pirates were around, they made hand grenades that had a little fuse sticking out of them, and it looked just like this. So they call them grenades. They're little grenades.
So you think this is where the name grenades came from?
Yeah. Well, no. They named this after the bomb.
Okay, they named this after the bomb.
Yeah. The conquistadors saw them and they said, people are eating grenades over there. And when you break these open, they have a seed that has like this kind of slimy stuff around it, and you eat the seed and all. It's absolutely delicious. Very sweet. Crunchy but sweet. They usually sell them for like 10 for $1. And I like to tell people, like, if you're a raw food vegan, this is your equivalent of a raw oyster.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a raw. It doesn't really, but it's like,
you want something slimy?
Sure, I should eat this. Yeah, eat it. It's good. These are tomate arbol, means tree tomato. Nothing to do with a tomato. They're not really a tomato. But if you cut it open, you look inside, it looks just like you cut open a tomato looking inside. And the way you deal with them, you cut a little X over here, drop them into boiling water for 10 seconds, take them out, run them under cold water, peel off the skin, just like to peel a tomato.
Yeah.
Then you put them in the blender with a little bit of water, just a little, and then put it through a strainer and get rid of the seeds. And if you just put a little water, it's almost mayonnaise, almost like mayonnaise quality. And if you put in more, it'll get looser and looser. This is the basis for most of the homemade picante sauces that they'll serve on the tables in the restaurants.
So it is hot.
And but it's lovely because you get a sort of a mayonnaise kind of thing, but you don't get all that grease and fat that you would get from mayonnaise.
Right.
So it's a nice, healthy alternative. Also, over at the Comedor and everywhere, they'll always offer tomate arbol as a juice in the morning.
Right.
And they add water, a little sugar, a little salt, and it tastes just like tomato juice.
I've been drinking the horchata.
Oh, the cheese, yeah.
But that's a mixture of like 10 different things.
Several herbs. It always has amaranth in it, and that's what gives it the red color. But other than that, they can put in lemongrass or cedrón or cola de caballo or mint goes in it often. Many, many things. But what makes it horchata, that makes it turn red like that, is the amaranth. That's the plant that gives it the telltale.
Oh, I like it. It's really good.
Delicious.
I wish they serve it hot there. I wish I tried. I want to try it cold.
Free as well.
Yeah, but Luz showed me how I did. I did a video of the horchata because she showed me the thing, and she was real polite enough to do it.
Most places will offer it hot or cold. These over here are called camote.
Is there any of this stuff that's dangerous to just eat raw?
I wouldn't say dangerous. I would say unpleasant.
Well, a lot of the raw food is unpleasant.
There's a big difference between eating a raw potato and a raw pineapple.
Yeah.
One's a lot of fun, and the other is like, why am I eating this?
Well,
These are lovely. I never saw this in the U.S. These are camote. It's a purple sweet potato. It's kind of like a yam in shape. But they tell me it's not part of the yam family, it's part of the potato family. When you cut them open, they're bright purple. Sure. And they stay purple, and they taste just like, typical sweet potato would taste in anywhere you would go.
Well, there's so many types of ground, vegetables on the planet. These are fava.
Yeah, they call this haba bean. Here, haba, but it's the same as we call a fava bean in the U.S. and, of course, in Italy, where they're really famous.
I don't hardly ever see these in the USA, but I see them everywhere else on the planet.
Yeah,
I found some dried one down the street.
As a chef, we used to order these.
Yeah.
They were big with the gourmet restaurants, but the ordinary people, the ordinary restaurants don't use them much. And a lot of your customers kind of confuse them with lima beans or butter beans, and they sort of got a bad rap over a time, and I cannot explain why.
Yeah, I like butter beans, but I think they're a different thing, right?
Yeah, they're
I like they make these into chips. And I love
you and I
chips.
were in Thailand together, we used to buy these right out of the roaster store.
Sure.
We would munch on these.
I love these things.
I love them too.
I found them at the little grocery store down the street, just like 6 little packs. I almost bought them all because...
I might have first tasted them with you in Thailand. I don't remember where I first tasted them.
I'm trying to eat different things that are kind of healthy, and it's kind of hard in some places.
Yeah, you and I ate a lot of these in Thailand together. And sometimes you can find them already peeled, which is kind of fun.
They got some peas over here, and then some white corn, and then some string
These are
beans.
ordinary English peas, like you would get in America. We call them English peas, and this is what you make the famous pea soup with. Normally we'll get green splits at home, but that is this, just dried. When you dry them, they split in half. So,
what do you think on freezing this stuff? Does it change the flavor?
No, freezing. Well, no, it shouldn't affect the flavor. It'll affect the consistency. When you freeze something, the water expands when you freeze it. And then the cell wall is very, very delicate. So when you expand it, you'll break the cell wall when you freeze it. And then when you defrost it, that's why when you defrost stuff, the juice runs out. Because the cell wall was holding the juice in.
Well, these raw fooders are wanting the enzymes or something. I'm kind of like... Are they still losing them, or are they going to need to drink the juice?
I would say they need to drink the juice.
Yeah, well,
but there's a lot of... I don't understand the whole raw food movement myself.
I would think I might put them in a blender and mix them with something that tastes good.
This year they call this manzanilla, and in USA and Europe we call it chamomile. This is a very popular nighttime tea.
Sure.
It has a certain sedative effect. A lot of people say it really helps them to sleep at night.
Sure.
And they sell it fresh like this here all over the place.
Well, tea seems to be the panacea of all cures for everything.
Very big. This, those of you who like curry at home, this is turmeric, the turmeric root. And you can see extremely bright orange yellow. And this is that powder that they put in curry, and that's what turns the food, yellow. This is supposed to be very medicinal too, and a lot of people chew it and they say it's good for you, but it turns your teeth yellow.
Is this ginger or ginger?
Ginger.
Yeah, I love ginger, but I've never been able to figure out how to process
Looks
it.
very similar to the turmeric.
But I always ask before I try to. But I was going to try to make some tea a few times with this, but I've never succeeded.
Well, the best thing is to just chop it up real good and throw it in boiling water. But if you have a box grater, that it looks like a pin's been pushed through it, that hole, it's hardly even a hole.
I carry one in my backpack. No, you used to carry something in your backpack that was quite special all the time. He's got a backpack. This guy's traveled for 7 years, and he's a chef. You think how hard it is to prepare some of this stuff out of a backpack?
I carried a vegetable peeler and chopsticks. And I had an old plastic Nutella jar that I kept with salt and pepper mixed together. Because almost anything I want to put salt on, I want to
Mora, isn't that drink that they have in Peru?
Yeah. Mora just means blackberry, or it's not exactly a raspberry.
Yeah, Mora chicha or something like that.
Yeah.
This is something he made me smell. It smells really bad.
Really bad. One of them things I don't want to know.
It's got warts on it.
Yeah. These are just moldy melons. This is maracuya, which in America we call passion fruit. Very, very, very sour. You cut them open. They got gloopy-looking seeds, just like the granada, but the granada is sweet. You put them in a blender with water and sugar, and you make a delicious passion fruit juice. This they call acelga. We call this chard. Lots of varieties of chard back home. But here they call it acelga.
Is that cilantro?
Yes. In Mexico they say cilantro. Here they say culantro. But same exact thing.
Yeah, I like this when you put it in like a taco thing.
Oh yeah.
And I had a tacos al pastor, tacos Argentina and empanadas Argentina in Octavalo, Ecuador. And they packed it with this stuff. I fell in love with these things. We'd eat 10 of them.
Here they call this cebolla larga, which means long onion. but most of us call this a leek in or puro in Spanish. But, oh no, it's puro in French. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, here's cebolla larga. You do the same with it as you would a leek. This is just, they call this calabaza. It's one of a bazillion varieties of pumpkins around the world, and you can see it in its shell form, or you can buy it like this, peeled and cut into workable pieces. You can just boil this together, put it in a blender, and make soup.
As a chef, like over in Philippines and Thailand now, you can actually buy bags of stuff already cut up. Is this a good idea in the market?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Well, I've got to the point where I say, if you cut it up right now, I'll eat it, I'll buy it. But if it's been sitting there for half the day, anything that's sitting around anywhere on the planet makes me nervous. Because I don't know how long it's been sitting there.
No, you're wise for being that way. Generally, like we say, the less processed the food is, the better it is for you.
Sure.
So here it is unprocessed, and here it is processed, and that's how it is.
Okay, you hear. Let's repeat that again. The less processed,
the better it is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows if you want to get all the vitamins from your cucumber, you eat it just like this,
sure,
skin and all. But by the time it's been peeled and seeded and cut in dices and floating in a Japanese soup,
sure,
it's been processed to the point where there's not much left.
Well, I think we've got about everything in the store.
Everything that was on.
I never can remember the name of these. Kiwi.
Kiwi. They call them kiwi here too.
I'm not a person that eats everything, so I'm
These are just variations. These are just different kinds of oranges.
I buy grapes here and munch on them.
Well, we were talking about bananas before. You'll see
No, these are good ones.
millions of kinds of bananas here, except for the famous Chiquita, which is the one that gets exported all over Europe and the U.S. And
but I think
that's
if you're
a particular brand, not the. There's also a company called Chiquita, but I'm talking about that. What do you call it? Hybrid?
Right.
Or hybrid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think though, if you're going through on a bus, you can see it growing alongside the thing, and they've got little bags on it.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, it's really quite fun to look at.
You got, especially coming up from Ecuador, you pass miles and miles of plantations owned by Chiquita and owned by Dole and
Sure.
United Fruit. Those are the three biggest people that export bananas out of Ecuador. And Colombia. The three are in Colombia too, exporting a lot of bananas. And that's where your bananas come from. Here, if you're in Europe, your bananas come from Madeira probably. Big apples, huh? Nice looking apples.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. I think that's probably about the attention span. This is, what's that name of that famous guy that eats food all over the place that really probably...
Oh, Tony Bourdain.
Yeah, this is better. This guy's
Hi, Tony.
living here. Okay, we're in Vilcabamba, Ecuador, and I thank Bob very much, a good friend of mine. Vilcabamba, Ecuador, get on My Vilcabamba or get on Hobo Traveler to look at these videos. Thank you.
Ciao.
We can pack up tomorrow. Tonight, let's flip a coin.